Now to Peter Bruce, a former Business Day editor. Peter, condolences to you as well, having had a long working relationship with Karima. Just your thoughts this morning on hearing the news.
Yeah, look, it's very sad. Anyone who's been following her progress in hospital has been on edge for the past week or so. And she, as you've heard many times this morning, I'm sure she was a real fighter. And this was one she lost, and it's very, very sad.
And Peter, just talk about the Karima you knew, the person you knew. I mean, you obviously had, there was work, it was intense, we know how intense and passionate Karima was, but just the person you knew.
The most difficult job in the world was being Karima Brown's boss. She was impossible and irreplaceable at the same time. And she was very demanding. She knew everything before you knew it. But there was a brilliant part about her, that she was open to ideas, not about her position on life itself. Karima was a lifelong, by the time I knew her, she was a communist. And that was fine, that's what she was, and other people were liberals, and so it didn't really matter. But, she was a journalist before she was anything else, and she was just fabulous. She worked so hard all the time, and she got us on Business Day just great stories. This is a string of stories that nobody else could match. And I know that many foreign correspondents in Johannesburg and the rest of South Africa, working for British or European or American newspapers, would often remark to me how they used her. They read her first before anyone else, because she was the more reliable of all of the political correspondents. And it was basically, we hired her on Business Day to answer just one question. And it's still the big question in South Africa. What on earth is going on inside the ANC? Because it's hard to read. And Karima came closer than anybody else I know to answering that question. And she did it consistently throughout her career. And God knows what we're going to do without her, whether it's on the Fix or whether it's on eNCA or whatever media, because she was a constellation all of her own, and she could do things that other journalists can't do. She could actually call people that other journalists simply can't.
Peter, do you share the sentiment? I mean, we had a lot of people, Clive, her producer, earlier saying that when he first met her, he was intimidated. I mean, even me, the first time they said, oh, you're going to talk to Karima Brown. I was like, oh, goodness, what do I ask this woman? Because she knows everything, and I don't want to sound stupid and all of that. But any point, I mean, you being the seasoned person, the veteran you are as well, were you ever intimidated by Karima?
No, I wasn't intimidated. I think she got my measure very early on and probably charmed her way around me. With flattery or whatever it is, but so we were in a very different relationship to what she might have been with anybody else at, say, eNCA by the time she got there. But she, I just remember her, apart from being, a real friend when I left the editorship of Business Day, and she invited me onto the Fix for almost a year. It was great fun, and as a sort of co-host or sparring partner, she used to call me. I didn't find her intimidating. I found her always open to questioning. My WhatsApp messages to her over the past 2 years are an absolute lesson in South African politics, and I'm going to treasure them forever, because I kept on asking her questions about why this or that was happening in the party that I couldn't answer. And she would know, or she'd have an answer, and it was always plausible.
Yeah.
And so she was a real addition to, I'm sure, eNCA, certainly to Business Day. Incredibly difficult sometimes, and I'm sure bossy and exasperating, but absolutely worth the effort. And she's a huge loss, not only to, I'm sure, her family and her friends, but she's a huge loss in our body politic.
And it all came from passion, all of that you speak of, just being bossy and all of that, Peter. It came from being passionate, from really wanting, like we say. And the show was so apt for her, is the Fix. She was somebody who tried to fix
She loved it. And I mean, she liked doing the Fix, and she liked doing the, I don't know what happened to it, the 702 politics show in the evening, because her life revolved around politics. And if she could have it almost, 6 days a week, or to herself. It was a life richly enjoyed because she was doing what she was passionate about all the time.
All right, Peter Bruce, thank you so much for sharing that.
Pleasure.
And I suppose for many of us, yeah, it's settling in the news, slowly settling in the passing of Karima Brown, our colleague, our friend here at eNCA as well, and our condolences to her family and friends, many of whom are hearing the news this morning.